So we're here for another different kind of video. We typically post logic puzzles and solution walkthroughs and obviously a lot of Sudoku and other things and doing that. But recently and particularly in the last few months, I've been thinking about what's next for me in life and other things. And so I wanted to reflect back on how Sudoku even became so associated to me. Like Sudoku is a puzzle that was a mental health uh, approach when I was in graduate school, dealing with the diagnosis of my mother with breast cancer. She'd eventually passed away 14 years later. We didn't know that when she was first diagnosed. We had no idea how long we'd have left. And it really was something that was a crucible that changed a lot of my adult life. And I was dealing with a long-term breakup of a girlfriend. And so at some stage, solving puzzles for a whole weekend was probably not a healthy thing to do, but it was my copacetic. And Sudoku was even in the care packages my mother sent. And to reflect back, like Sudoku is also a fad. Like if there's a reason Dr. Sudoku exists, it's not. I want it to be about the left side of the slide, like elegance and puzzle making and puzzle solutions. It's actually about the right side of the slide. It was a fad, and it had a lot of attention in the early days. Everything from, let's change the numbers to baseball positions or get them on stickers, and the kids can put SpongeBob pair characters down the board, or even like Sudoku is toilet paper. I have some of that in my bathroom closet. It's been given to me as a gift. I've never used it for either purpose, as a puzzle or as a wipe, because it doesn't feel it can do both, and that means it's probably bad at both if it tried too hard. But with any fad, particularly any intellectual fad, the question came like, who can do these things fast? And that's where my reputation set about 15 years ago was not just solving Sudoku fast, but even solving puzzles like this one in the center bottom, this toroidal Sudoku from the World Sudoku Championship. Puzzle I solved in 15 minutes and no one else in the room could even put a digit in. And today's standard Sudoku solvers can do a lot with this puzzle, but they've also now had many, many years of practice. They have like the cracking the cryptic clue, talk through sort of hard ways to visualize stuff. I mean, that's where the mind and body can get once you do practice against things. And I people ask like, am I going to win another World Sudoku Championship? No, like I haven't practiced Sudoku in 10 years. Like I've been constructing Sudokus. I've loved making puzzles. But at some stage, being Dr. Sudoku isn't the only thing for me. I sort of joke that right after winning the World Championship, people would come up to me in a party setting or like at an office hours trying to say, Thomas, you're such a good Sudoku solver. Please tell me like how you do it, what you love about the puzzle. And sometimes they'd have like a companion that's just behind their shoulder and they'd wince a little bit when they heard Sudoku, and I'd wince too, but like with a knowing sense, there are like 8 ways you could pronounce the U's and O's, and I've heard all of them. Sudoku is I think the most common, really, really off way, but I at least appreciate it's the inverse. And the person who's wincing there is like, well, Thomas really wish they just said like, you're such a good Sudoku solver. If they at least like started the conversation right, that'd be the conversation I want to have. And it's still not. Like for me, when I think about what I do in my life, like one of the traits I really think about is identify as a good problem solver. And it's not just about puzzles. Puzzle solver is even a sort of under this umbrella. But it's saying where in a challenge, like can you cure this disease or diagnose XYZ or do anything else? Can you approach something that may have an answer, it may have many answers, it may not have an answer, but can you think about how to approach the problem, how to test things, how to know if you're making progress or gaining knowledge or not, how to know when you need help, and build not just you as the problem solver, but here's a team that can be problem solvers with you. And that's like the thing I spend most of my time on is not making puzzle videos or solving Sudoku. It's being a team leader and scientist. And so that's a lot of what I'm thinking about is like how to make sure eventually the story of Dr. Sudoku is being a good problem solver, not just a good Sudoku solver. And I don't have the answer for that yet, but I've got another fun story to tell, or at least start to tell, and that's that the second time in my life I've had a lot of sort of different struggles with sort of emotions and sleep and other things was just in the last few months, and some of you on this channel very much saw it directly. And this is also happening in the same year that the second puzzle craze of my adult life really was happening, with Wordle starting at the end of last year and into this year. And it started a bit in the social scene and then blew up in other ways into other settings. It got to where in one of my more hypomanic moments when I was kind of like, I wish I were recording this. I was mostly, I think, talking to myself, but I was kind of like speaking about how crazy I would find that the interest in this puzzle becoming that you'd have like whole debates about how broken the world was going to be because the New York Times had removed a few words from the upcoming Wordle word list. And so there's now a bifurcation of people playing the original game from the new game, and who knew if they were going to be social. The war in Ukraine had just started, and people are complaining about their Wordle list. And so, like at some stage, like, I'm not saying Wordle made me go crazy, but when I was sort of when I was having sort of some mood outburst, definitely like yelling at Wordle in my bedroom was the thing I was doing. And it's not that I was myself removed from playing Wordle. I was even trying at that time to do some fun things with Wordle. Like, could I get all the squares yellow before I got any of them green? And this isn't a great word to show you that in, but imagine the answer word here, that C was a B, and like the answer was zebra, or I guessed zebra and got like all 5 of the letters in the wrong positions before I got the right position. And so it's not an easy trick to do, but if you like always have to keep the C in that position, which is incorrect, until you get the other letters, or at least 4 of those letters, it's you're giving yourself a handicap to make Wordle more fun. And at some stage, like this was the lunacy that a lot of others were doing, and these were some different things I saw in the past few months that put a smile on my face, like the pixel art that came from the green and yellow and black squares. Not World, just some flowers or riffs on the game. Some of these, I think one of these is actually real. I don't think Letterla it was ever made, but Adverbal, which isn't real, at least has one of my favorite pictures of how that goes, and really appreciate Patrick Merrill for putting that together. I Googled this morning if there was a Sudoku, because whenever there's I didn't find a Rubik's Cubel, but I did find a Sudoku. It's like a Web 1.0 site. I'm not sure anyone's ever played on it, but yeah, it had a picture of like you want to get 1 through 9 in this 3x3 square, and I think there's some rule about, if the number was adjacent to where it should be, like get yellow, or I don't know. I closed the site so quickly. I have no idea what Sudoku is. Don't want to go there. But with any fad, the question will always become like, can people get really good at this? Or when people are playing it in an awesome or different way, like how do the best play? And so, I've sometimes watched, and it's been curious to see the puzzle scene, like sites that really appreciate like Cracking the Cryptic starting to have a Wordle in a minute that they do every day. And I appreciate them. Mark, will sometimes use yesterday's answer or viewer answer as the first guess. Like there's a way when you're playing Wordle efficiently, you'll get to a heuristic where you definitely have a preferred initial word to reduce entropy or hit your memory space of other words. And so he's definitely giving himself a challenge to make it difficult to solve in a minute, but solving a Wordle in a minute isn't conceptually that interesting. And when I kind of been sort of reading some of the tweets I get from sort of rivals out there, like, a rival saying, I bet Dr. Sudoku can't even solve a Wordle in 10 minutes. Like, I don't listen to Sir Jumble ever, but, not sure if that person's right, but, I don't often solve Wordle, or when I do it seems I try to get 5 squares in yellow before any in green, so I don't know the rules for sure. But let me admit one thing. In the same way, the time and attention the world gave to Sudoku helped me in one of the hardest moments of my life during graduate school of dealing with things like mother's diagnosis and other things. I got really into Sudoku then. I got into some part of the Wordle craze recently. And as a way, again, if 10 minutes with 2 or 3 Sudoku grids was a way to just like get distracted and get back to a calm sort of moment of well-being, surprisingly, Quordle's been some of my mental health therapy in the last few months. And it has some of the bad traits that lead you to the same reasons of addiction I think Sudoku has. Like you get stuck on this last kind of word you want to get, and then you suddenly see what it has to be, and it's like, oh, that's so exciting. Or it's like you're at the end of a game, and it's a game that's got like 1 of 2 choices, the wrong ones, and you get that red, and you just, I can't leave on a bad note. I got to click a new one. So you just find yourself clicking the play the next game button over and over and over again. You've got to like set a timer, you're going to not stop. And so, recognizing where I'm embarrassed / proud to have like this be my my Wordle like practice screen over 6 months, 4,981 wins. I wanted to film this before I crossed 5,000 because that's just embarrassing. But I figure I could set some challenge where I could never like just come back to Wordle again if I do it right. And I remember the very first time I ever got a 6, and that was like amazing. And I've now gotten good enough at the game. I've gotten 400 of them. So like even getting what I'd call a perfect game after you get initial information is something I do about 8% of the time when I'm just playing for fun. And I've never gotten a streak over 98. I'm not optimizing for streaks, but like that's my Quordle resume to the extent I want to show it, and where I don't know what that window is doing. That's where like the idea for this video, and then 1 or 2 videos will follow it, came up. Is like, could I make a Dr. Quordle speedrun challenge in the same way winning a world title was a way I earned a PhD in Sudoku during graduate school? Like, have I earned a PhD in Quordle by playing it about 5,000 times? I hope not. I hope degrees are for more meaningful things than just that. But if there are degrees in puzzles and enigmatology, then like maybe I am Dr. Quordle right now. I don't know. But I wanted to set up a challenge to see like, have I passed the graduate thesis of expertise in this game? And so I had to set a set of challenges and looking for the community if they want to sort of suggest other things to do this. But one of the first things in my mind is like Wordle in a minute isn't exactly the right target. It's close, but I live in Silicon Valley. I worked at Google before and as part of the life sciences team. Like to 10x the challenge made sense for me. And I also am a long distance runner. I've done a few marathons in my life. I want to make it more of that form. So it's not just good skill, but being able to do it over a sustained period of time to show it's actually of high quality. Like anyone in a single Sudoku could solve it super fast. But if you can solve a set of Sudoku consistently fast, then you're certainly the best at it. So the target was 100 words in 10 minutes. And not exactly words, they're QWERTs. There are 4 QWERTs in a Quirtle, so solving 25 Quirtle puzzles fully, 100 words of skill, 10 minutes, so a total of 24 seconds per puzzle. That's very fast. And you say, well, there are some ways to cook that, and there certainly are. In the same way there are ways to cheat at almost anything in this world, I think one of the things you have to do is set some parameters around how people will play this challenge. And I'm setting the parameters around how I like to play Quirtle, which is I try to go for 6s and 7s. So I do not just enter, for instance, a 20-character set like Blind, Thump, KG, and Froze at the start of a puzzle to get most of the letters. You won't always get all the letters because there'll be 6 missing as well as there'll be duplicate letters you won't get. But you can almost always get an 8 or a 9 if you do that. But you also can only get an 8 or a 9 if you do that, unless you're really lucky and Blind or Thump is one of those words. I don't think KG and Froze can be answer words. I've not run into them. I've not looked at the word list, but I've played about 5,000 Quirtle games. I think I would have gotten to those. KG feels close. Froze, certainly no. Plurals at the ends of words, no. Plurals at the ends of vowels, like the S at the end of a thing like virus or bonus or locus, like there's a rare set of ending S's is one of the patterns you'll start to learn as you build a Quirtle vocabulary. And another thing is, I guess like it's not just about playing a skill. I think it also has to require some accuracy, and by accuracy I mean like you have to try. You have to like not just give up on games that are hard. Like there are some patterns like $OLLY, which can be, I'm pretty sure, just 6 words. Dolly, I just go through the alphabet. D, dolly, folly, golly, holly, jolly, and lolly with 3 L's. And believe me, if lolly were a Wordle answer at some point, I think the Twitter sphere would blow up because a lot of people would miss it because they'd like fall. That whole trap is bad, but even just getting like LO Y, like that has some space around it too. Another trap like $O?ER. It can be Roger, it can be Foyer, it can be cover and cower, it can be boxer, it can be joker, it can be poker. Lots of sort of things that can go in there. And so in different ways, there's some games you probably can't win unless you're lucky with 6s or 7s, so you can't require them all there. But there are also games you shouldn't just be able to just give up for the standards of a time challenge. If you could look at the first 2 words I play, and I like to play things that give me R, S, T, L, N, and E, as well as the other vowels. I call it the Wheel of Fortune space. I want to play those words. I use the words arouse and unlit. I prefer unlit to until, and I could give you a whole talk about that. But I play a rose. Sorry, I think I said arouse. I play a rose and unlit, and go from there. And every play after that second play should be able to be an answer word, unless I'm playing defensively for an 8 or 9, or if like spent 10 seconds and not done something. I just need to get a little forward momentum. Like there are some words I just won't think of or won't remember. Like there's one of my favorite pairs is cocoa or cacao, CACAO or COCOA. They're both unusual in some of their vowel positions, but also they only use a C. And like even when I recognize, oh, it's one of those, I'll put in the wrong one of the 2, depending on where I have the vowel information. So stuff will come up, but that's like why it's a 10-minute challenge. I don't know that this is possible. At least 10 minutes doesn't feel possible. 15 feels pretty credible for me right now, even if I'm playing it for fun, just like now, and talking to you while doing it. But if this first video will be a live first run to set a time standard, that will not be 10 minutes unless I'm lucky. Fingers crossed. In the future, we're going to see if I can cross this speedrun challenge. Just make a few attempts, not a lot of attempts, but again, like I want to do something to say I can never ever play Quirtle again, and this feels like a graduate thesis to let me do that. In the same way winning a World Sudoku Championship did. And that will say I've recovered from whatever mental health struggle I was going through. And in the future, please don't ever come up to me. I don't think this will make me popular. I'm not solving Wordle, so I'm not in the fad. I'm adjacent to the fads. No one will ever come and say, you're such a good Quirtle solver, but please don't do that. Please recognize the point is that when people apply their minds to hard problems, they can do great things. And that's what I really encourage you all to try to do. If you're even using the puzzles, the Grandmaster puzzles to get into logic games and other stuff, do it because you're trying to learn things to then achieve great stuff in your life. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to set up an anonymous browser tab. That looks okay. I'm on practice, which is something we want to make sure is there. I don't want to have like achievements come up, and I want to make sure the stats are clean. So we're going to come back to the screen after a maximum of 27 games to see how we've done. And it's not a good speed run if the audience can't see how the splits are going. So we made a little split timer here for the Quirtle 25x4 challenge. So let's make sure this pane is live. Let's start our split in 3, 2, 1. Stain, satin. This looks like a good using up top. This is like fluid. Actually, the eye there knows this is like guild build. Quill is now forced, and ooh, that's pretty bare. Like Verge would have been there. What do I have now? Verve. I think it's only Verve. Yeah, that's a crazy start. That's not how these games should go. Sorry about that. Bad RNG. Okay, this is like posit, not posit, vomit. Raven. Allowed. A foul. And we somehow only have that eye. There we go. There's a 7. Unlit. This is like brisk, frisk, etc. Frisk is good. Glory. Let's do glory to get the Y in. This is now like a lot more. Let's go over here. We've got shape shame. We've got nuck, nudge, dunce. Dunce will get us some letters we want to see. This is now like venue. This is just like, these are not as great words to get started with, but we're doing okay with them. Lordy shouldn't work. I'm gonna need to get 2 R's in this, or sorry, 2 O's in this word, unless there's another world. Shame or shape, this is an either or. Yep, nope, it's shape. This is not the speed run. That's my first strike. Let's do shift, swift, hulky. It's not great, but it's more like a gulch or a mulch. Fuzzy, fuzzy's a punt, but why not? Timid, rouse, unlit. This is groan, frown, etc. in the bottom, or it could be like crony. We've got pleat, cleat. So I like the C. That's saying this is more now pleat, bleat. So let's do balmy over here. This now really has to be pleat, or it's a whole different word, pedal. No, leapt. Badly. I am playing badly, and this is now haste or waste or taste. Let's just know the answer. So this is taste. Slurp. Swirl. Swirl is a real word. Growl or brow, or there we are. It's like dying, vying. Let's do dying and get the Y. Vying is the answer. And this is going to be judge or equivalent fudge, budge. So we're not doing great at getting lurid. Looks good there. I hate Dolly, but let's do it. This is moldy. Award and dense. There's enough lag from the video recording that it's interfering a bit with the solve. Lyric. Tangy or tawny. That's tawny. I haven't spent the H, so chaos looks good. It's like toxin, toxic, topic. I like topic. OTIO, motif. Hurry. Well, we might as well do that. It's kind of funny. Rugby is a good bill for the rest. Ruddy and fling. Alter. Let's do frisk, which could be brisk. Okay, this is now prism, crisp. That's a bit of playing more than I want to just kind of bank in one space. This is a little bit weird. UBE. Debug. That's a good pull. Serif. Resin. All those letters are spent. Prior. Not much that's going to use that space. That's just, I guess, kiosk is forced. I should have actually seen that. Oh, we're getting some weird word chic here. I think ivory. And I have cable fable, maple. I somehow made that a 7. I don't know how. I spent time. That's how. Spurn. No, that's not. It's scrub. Scrum is a good step there. Let's see if it actually is of this space. Otherwise, it's now of this space. This is like yearn, milky or filmy. I got lucky on that one. Arouse and lit. Admin. If I could type. I sure hope it's not this. It turns out it is. We've got, I think that's got to be wooer, actually. You've played too many games once you're starting to do that pull easily. This only has an E, could get the Y. Lefty, that's my first 6, that's a good one. Unlit, this is like, let's evict is a way to start, could also be edict, so not great. This could be scope, probably not so much else at this time. Flyer, plier, the P's gone. And we need something that's still got another 6. There we go. Arose, unlit. Tonic, toxin. Crimp. This is somehow Ralph. Singe. No, I can't get the E. Sinew. We'll just do a punt with chump there. So this is bumpy, jumpy. I hate playing this way, but we've got a good set of letters. Baton is now pretty clear. Prowl is pretty clear, and this is like, what does that want to do? OM. Can I put another? Not like any of those. Shoot. Well, let's get the M positions. There are 2 I's. Oh, idiom. Shoot. Brunt, grunt, burnt. Burnt has to be burnt. Inbox? No. Onion. Topic, toxic, the X is gone. So it could also, optic was actually their salve. Let's do clung, flunk, skulk, goofy, flesh, bless. I normally do mauve and then gauge. I think that's, ooh, gauze. I hate when it's the triple dead on that. Vowel, just T and E. It really needs like this pattern, hefty. And Heath, rare 9, but I'll take it. Sometimes you just survive. It's really like truce or brute or groot. So let's do something like mushy to just get some more letters in. That didn't really help with this, but it gives me hinge. No, it gives me wine. So brute is looking good, or the truce I said before, and then we have like glaze or glade. Let's hope it's only those. Another 9, but that's a kind of word trap. Shout, spout, stat. This is a good place. I do sometimes just do a punt because I always then get the start and get a lot else. Loopy. This is groom or broom. Whirl. Ready is a good guess, but it's a bit of a punt. How am I getting the Y? This is like pair. Does it have to be pair, layer? Yeah. I get not swayed segue. Always forget that one. Mom wouldn't be happy. Stan Stank. Stony. Daisy. This is another like plier flyer. Actually, the eyes don't work for that. Liver. Anise. Anime. Sauna looks okay over there. This is okay. Let's get the letters out from Croc. And then if this becomes something as simple as brood, or we're now sort of out of things, this can be proof and drape. 2 more to go. Polar or molar or valor. We got the vowels helping us there. This is kiosk again in that corner. Bingy, Dinny. I like getting at least more letters. And actually, ooh, it doesn't have. This is inch. This is like winch, bench, mensch. And that was not the right thing to do over there, but it's putting me more in the cinch hinch thing over here. So this needs I. Can do itchy. I should have done this punch sooner. One more. Bum, 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 bum. Swell, shell, spell. It's another punt. So it's none of those. Wheel. A good begin. Bully. Bulby. Bulky, of course, that's a word. And how did we do? Got 13. So we beat 10 as a roll. 3 6s is good. 12 minutes, 28 seconds. So we've got some time to cut off, but I think that's not bad as a starting point. 96% win percentage, 23 game streak. So you're doing good till we weren't. Looking back at the splits, let's see how often we were gaining time. So we had one big time sink on game 3. So could have done a punt there, some greens. And then another big pump here. I think this was the Bible game. And towards the end. So a little rusty, but I'm also not used to both live streaming, if you call this live streaming, but kind of filming me playing, or trying to do this in a speed run form. So I'll take it for today. I'm going to actually go and walk and relax, like where Sudoku used to be a way I relaxed. When it became competitive, it wasn't relaxing anymore. And so I'm going to find something else to do to enjoy this great weekend. I hope you all enjoy your week too. We'll probably post this on Monday, but thanks for experiencing this story of what's next for Dr. Sudoku. And again, Thomas, you're such a good problem solver. I hope you all can become better problem solvers too. Cheerio.